Man, this is cool. I love the glasses. Thanks for bringing them.
Yeah, of course.
Man, I'm feeling fresh.
Feeling fresh.
I'm
Looking
feeling-
fresh.
No, mate, you're looking fresh. Mate, you've got some serious drip. Oh, maybe we'll start with that. Like
Start with the drip.
the shades kind of add to it, but
Just like if you're not looking fresh in the morning, then what are you doing?
in the morning, I think it's hard to look fresh in the morning though,
You
because
reckon?
I don't wake up looking fresh. I've got to have a shower. I got to chuck my moisturizer on. I got to have a shave, and then I'm looking
But it's crooked smile, so it needs to be like a
authentic.
yeah, crooked.
Something about middle childs. Hey,
Being a middle child is actually the best.
I am a middle child as well.
Are you a middle
Yep.
child?
Yep.
3? Is
Yep,
it 3?
three
of you?
brothers. I'm a middle brother.
Man.
It's the best.
Being a middle child, okay, you go first. Tell me, what's your experience being a middle child?
They're just the golden child. Middle childs are always the golden child, It's just how it works. If you're listening to this and you're not a middle child, I'm sorry, but it's
You're
just how it
missing
works.
out.
The middle child is always the golden child.
I think the thing that I've seen being a middle child is that you're in that fine line between, like, when you're the first child, all of the responsibilities drop onto your shoulders. You need to be like on top of everything. When you're the last born, you're quite entitled. For the last ones listening, like I said it, don't attack me. But then there's the sweet spot where you're like the favorite, but no one's gonna call it out.
It's like pancakes. The first one's always a bit of a throwaway. The last one, you're kind of not paying attention, but that middle one, it's just right.
Because it's like the first pancake, right? You kind of just trying to see if it, if the heat is right and everything. But the second one,
It's primo, mate.
then the last one's like, it's just the last one.
Something I wanted to ask you about to start with is, and I've noticed it from just scrolling through your feeds and seeing kind of what you're doing, is the hustle. Talk to me about the hustle.
Hustle is, I'll call hustle passion, right? So let's use them as twins, right? So what is passion? I was having this conversation and I'm passionate about talking about passion. It's so funny that we're going into this. So whenever I say passion or I say hustle, just hear the same thing. But hustle is essentially having a burning, innate desire that's beyond you. So most people, when you talk about passion, if I ask you, what are you passionate about? Most people think passion is something that you're excited about. That's one element. That's just a fraction of what passion actually is. But passion, if you look up the actual definition, passion is what you're willing to suffer for, which is why when you break it down, it comes down to hustle. So you pick your poison, you know what I mean? So if you look at a lot of my content, you see the hustle and you see the passion. You see that I'm choosing to suffer. Doing some of the things that we do is
It's not easy. It's not
so
easy to put out
uncomfortable.
content consistently, to go
Every
interview
day.
strangers, to
Yeah.
make clips online and promote yourself. No, it's not easy at all. So you have to be passionate about it and you have to hustle for sure.
100%, man.
I guess there's so many places we can start with this, because I did a bit of a deep dive on you as a guest on the Crooked Smile podcast because I like to do my research. But I guess how old, I want to know this for context in terms of the order of which I ask my questions, but how old were you when you moved to Australia?
I was probably 19.
Okay. All right. What was it like nearly dying at 15?
So firstly, being unwell and having exams, nearly dying, was something that you don't prepare for. They don't teach you how to die. And I literally posted something the other day that people say you only live once, but you actually only die once and you live every day. But track back to that moment, realizing that I could die any day. I lived my life thereon like I could die any day. The difference was, rather than me being passive and just going by, every day after that moment was intentional. When I walk into this room, my first thing is I'm going to have an intentional conversation. I'm where my feet are at. That's a new thing that I've learned as well of recent. But being in a season where your life is about to flash before your eyes at such a young age, I was overweight. And the thing is, my illness had taken quite a bit of time to actually be, identified or like picked up on, that I was on the verge of things. So getting into a state where I was intentional, man. Like, I locked in very early on. And I don't know if you heard this saying, but some people say some men wake up at 16, some men wake up at 26, some men wake up at 37. My wake-up call was at 15, but my actual wake-up and getting out of bed, theoretically, not speaking practically or realistically, was at 16. So that was my experience.
It's a good way to kind of pivot your life when you have these sort of experiences, because the growth does come from the challenge, the hardship. It's what forms you into who you become. But in terms of the day-to-day, just getting back on your feet after that, what is that like? Because you're so young, you've hardly seen the world yet, and you've just had a near-death experience. How do you pick yourself back up again? How do you put one foot in front of the other and kind of get that momentum to build you into who you are now?
To be quite frank with you, I think for me, what I realized was that early on, I was blessed enough to have a vision, right? So I think that's what makes the world worth living, having a vision, having a direction. For instance, before coming to this podcast, you sent me the address. I knew where I was going. So my job was not to go anywhere else. My job was just to do what I needed to do to get here. So having some sort of understanding of where you're trying to be and just taking the steps, them being wrong, them being right, doesn't necessarily matter. But you find that life is a series of twists and turns. And that's something that I had to understand early on. So for me, my journey was like me getting into fitness and starting to go for runs every day, trying to get into the school team.
But it wasn't easy when you first started, was
Not
it?
at all, man.
So how did you learn to persevere through that? Like, what is that like is what I'm getting at. I want to know like the experience, what you drew from it, like that actual feeling of being so weak that you've nearly just died and you're out of shape and now you're finding fitness. Like, how do you decide that's what you're going to do, and then how do you push through that? Because it's not going to be easy to start with. You're at the bottom of the mountain.
All right, how real do you want to go?
Let's get real, man. Let's get authentic on the Crooked Smile podcast. Let's get authentic.
Okay. So to be quite frank with you, so for me, it was realizing that, firstly, obviously, I was just a number. If I died, nothing would change. You know what I mean? There was no impact whatsoever. And then it started by me being driven by insecurities, me wanting to feel seen, me wanting to feel important, me wanting to feel like I have some sort of value. And I wanted to fit in so bad, right? I was trying my best to fit into the school team. I was trying my best to be, because my siblings are really smart. I haven't shared this as well. I'm the middle child. You know what I mean. So both my siblings were like top A students, like always getting the awards, and like every time there's, let's say, some sort of presentation or them just giving awards to like people, they will be the top 5, top 10, right? Whereas then there was me, right? I was street smart. I kind of just knew how to pull the ropes, but for me, it was driven by insecurity, frankly speaking. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to put myself out there and do something. You know, I was always in the situation, being the middle child, it's amazing, it's beautiful, but you kind of need to put your hand up to be seen. You know what I mean? And that was my life. That was my life experience, trying to make myself feel seen and then conveying that into, rather than me trying to please people. I was a people pleaser, I'm not going to lie to you, when I was much younger, right? But then it became, I just want to be fulfilled and help others. I just want to see how good can I become at this sport, in business, in life, in sports. How good. I was curious to see that version of myself. And what kept me going was seeing the improvements and seeing how substantial they can play out. I'll give you a very basic example. So when I started playing volleyball, right? Started playing at a semi-professional level as well. I was trash. And when I say trash, I mean like I was trash. There'll be like a group of people and they'll pick the teams and I'll be the only one left. And even then they're like, is there anyone else? It's like, yo, pick me, yo. You know what I mean? I'll get up at 4 a.m., 16 years, and I also went to boarding school as well. So that kind of...
Where did you grow up? Which country?
Zambia.
Nice.
Born and raised in Zambia.
Cool. Sorry, just for context for me.
Yeah, of course. So waking up at 4 a.m., 4:30, just to be very precise, going to the courts. And if you play volleyball, you know you need a setup, right?
Man, I'm the worst at volleyball.
It's such an underrated sport.
I'm left-handed, but everything I throw, sorry to sidetrack, but I throw and I write with my left hand, and everything else I do with the other side of my body. So kicking, tennis, all that. It's bizarre. So in volleyball, I'll go to spike the ball or hit it or whatever left-handed, but my run-up will be as if I'm about to hit it right-handed because my body's so trained to be right-sided.
Are you right-footed?
Yeah.
And then left-handed?
Yeah.
I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah, right.
I'm left-footed and right-handed. So it's weird.
But yeah, I suck at volleyball. That's where I was going with that.
In other words. But like
So
TLDR,
finding volleyball was kind of your escape, your way to move forward.
that was game changer because I had a euphoric moment, which was being very, very trash at it, training when no one saw me, to then we had like tryouts and that, right? So we had tryouts. So I used to train for months. No one saw me. No one saw me. I would get up. I taught myself how to set for myself and all of that. Then we had tryouts. And then I was on one team and there was the other team. There was think of the A team, the best team you can think of. They were all on one side. And then there was me and some like other bunch of guys, right? I played so well that the whole team on the other side despised me. We qualified, so we were in good terms, so we were able to play with like American International School, Italian International School, like big schools around the world. I went to like a good school, right? So we went to like finals and things like that. And I remember my coach, I was going for one of the last spikes, right? Literally, I can remember this. And every time I explain this story, I can feel the emotion, right? So I just remember, obviously this whole thing, like being trash to being like one of the best volleyball guys and then like going to now the finals. And I remember the last shot and I think I was going for the spike, right? So the boy is in the air and I'm in the air going for the spike, right? And everything just goes quiet in my head. I smash the ball, boom, and it lands. Everyone's just like, and I remember seeing my coach like, yeah, and that for me, seeing the fact that I could go from the worst.
You've nearly just died. You're the worst on the team. Your health's not great. To then, yeah.
You can't unsee it. Like that's what I say to people. Once you see what's possible, you can't unsee it. And success is addictive, bro.
It is. It is. But it's also momentum as well. The momentum. Right? You got to build the momentum behind it. You moved to Australia with only $50. What's that like?
It sounds so real. So when I was moving here, so obviously there's different currency pairs, right? So in Zambia.
How old are you?
I was 19.
19.
So, and even then, for 3 years, I was in studying. Dad wasn't working. Things were hard, right? In Australia, things are beautiful and things are hard. They're hard, but they're not like hard. But hard is, contextual.
In terms of hardships, yeah.
It's contextual. Long story short, I moved here with $50. So that was $50 was given to me by my uncle, actually. Not my dad, not my mom, my uncle, okay? And I'm at the airport. I was at, I think, Doha Airport. Now, $50, all you can get is like a burger and drinks. So that was half of my money. So for me, when I converted that money back to my currency, so the currency pair, I think at the time was $50 is equivalent to like maybe 500 kwacha or something. And 500 kwacha can buy like a week worth of, items. And I'm at the airport. I'm like, fuck, man, I spent half my money. I'm not even in Australia yet. Got to Australia, I'm probably like at $12 or something. I started living with my brother and I think I was crashing like on the couch or something. And I remember going to the gym. There was a gym next door. I think it was Jet's gym. And I went in there and asking them, how much is like a membership? $25 a week. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like about to get back to like, I couldn't fathom that, right? But the lady said to me, like, trust me, you afford it. I'm like, really? I've never hustled that much. In like 4 weeks, I worked crazy. I got my first car in 4 weeks.
You got your first
car? Yeah, in 4 weeks. I worked day and night, and I've always had this entrepreneur thing. So 6 months in, I was studying. I was doing TAFE. I was doing mechanical engineering. I dropped out of that. I started my business. I still was doing civil and structural engineering while studying and then building a business. And yeah, it was fun. It is fun.
Do you have other family here or is it just your brother?
My brother was here first. I've got a few cousins like spaced out.
Yeah, okay.
But now we're starting to get a bit closer because obviously now we've all been here for some time and things like that.
But And then you came to Australia to study,
Yeah, correct.
and then through studying you realized it wasn't for you and you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yes. So through studying, you know how, like, I don't know what your experience is like, but you know when you're getting into university or getting into studies, you're kind of just, seeing what fits. From the get-go for me,
It just didn't fit.
nah.
Yeah, okay.
Nah. Each time the only time I would light up in a class or in a lecture is if they talk about some sort of business. I'm not, like, literally, if I hear the word business and it's like some numbers thing, I don't choose it. I don't choose to be entrepreneurial. It's just first nature for me, right? So I'll be in class and this lecturer will be talking about, I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? I felt like I was wasting time. Like I could be doing so much with life. And I still was. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll be in class when I needed to be in class. After hours, I'm like grinding. I'll be at work. I'll be doing my little
What
business.
jobs were
on
you
my phone.
working?
Fuck, man, I did everything.
Take me through it.
I've done the most mundane jobs. I've been a janitor. I've worked in disability. I've worked in a hospital, like cleaning and things like that. I've worked still in the hospital setting, but it's been more, still in that environment. So cleaning, disability work, so taking care. I think disability was something I couldn't take. I love what I learned from it, but the environment in itself, like dealing with people, like mental health, and you're not really equipped for it. But it taught me psychology, how to read people, how to get them to do something that they need to do, but they don't want to do it. But you make that their desire. You convey that, you transmute that energy. So I learned so much from doing the little mundane things. I worked as a removalist. I think when I just got here, that was one of the first jobs that I started with as a removalist. So if you guys wanted to pack up all of this stuff, you call us up. I come with the truck and we pick up everything, lifting heavy stuff. And it was day and night working in the kitchen. I'll be literally, I don't even know how I survived, but you'll be actually shocked what you can do if you really just
Put your mind to it.
just put your mind to it. And if you've got no option,
Yeah. There's no plan B.
there's no fucking plan B. It's either do or you literally die.
Confidence. You've got a lot of confidence. Have you always had that, or you had to build that?
Man, confidence just comes with knowing the fact that you can do certain shit and not die. And that you repeat the same thing. I'm actually writing a book right now. And that's one of the...
I saw author. I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You did your research.
I research all my guests.
I love that.
I
Thank
research all
you.
my
Thank you. I really appreciate what you're doing, and not just having me on the podcast, but confidence is something that you build over time. And for me, I say this, right? So I used to have this perception that confidence is you being bold and doing epic stuff. That's one element of it, but there's inputs and outcomes, right? So confidence is acting amidst the fear. It's feeling the humiliation, feeling the uncertainty, feeling the judgment, feeling like, oh my God, this might not work, but fuck, I'm just gonna do it. I'll just give it a crack. It's in the storm. It's not about the rainbow. It's in the storm, still being able to execute regardless of what the outcome possibly could be. And even if you get burned, a lot of confidence is not about the successful outcome or the failure, but it's how you deal with that. Okay? So even if you get a successful outcome, right? How you deal with that can determine what confidence looks like to you. And for instance, I approach a lot of strangers. And a lot of times, like it's very easy for somebody to look at it and be like, oh, you just approached this person.
No, it takes guts.
Like I've literally had situations where I approach certain people and they say like, please, if you put me on, if you film this, I'm going to report you and things like that. And you kind of get a bit phased, right? But you develop that thick skin as well. And confidence is something that anyone can, if you really just intentionally really want to become confident, surround yourself with people who are confident.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like
you
confidence.
You are the sum of your 5 best friends.
100%, bro.
Nice. I love this. You say you're an author. Do you read much?
I love reading, man.
What books have you read? I feel like we could be pretty similar in terms of reading.
I'll let you guess the first book that opened my mind. I've shared it before.
I haven't seen this. Is it Think and Get Rich by Napoleon Hill?
That's a book that I'm rereading. I read it like maybe 4 times. I'm reading the 4th
Is that
time.
it? Is that the book?
It's one of, but
The Power of Habit, Atomic Habits, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
you know good books. You read good books.
Is there any of those though? I'm trying to guess what
you're
you
getting
read.
close. So think Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, Rich Dad. Oh, I did see this Cash Flow Quadrant by. I haven't read that one. I've done the audio book for that one, but I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I've done the audio books for all the other ones when I used to work at an old place and just listen to his stuff.
That book.
Sorry, I have seen that. I did do my research.
Yeah, you did do your research. I know, because I didn't. That came from your mouth, not mine. That's good.
No, that's a good book. And that's talking about assets and creating assets, and that's the true way to kind of building your wealth. And then one of the examples in that book, because I think I audio listened to it a couple of years ago now, but one of the examples I really liked from the book is he really wanted to buy a nice car, right? He didn't just fork out 400 grand to buy the nice car. He invested the 400 grand into shares with his share person that he got advice from. And when that 400 grand then in return generated another 400 grand, he then spent that 400 grand on the car and then also then had his 400 grand of investment as a result instead of just having a 400 grand car. And so that's something I always think about.
It's only when you read certain books like that, then you get exposed to the truth that things like money, wealth, those things aren't taught in school. And I think of it this way, right? I don't think they should. I think I know they should, but I don't think they can. Why? Because look at the people in that environment, right? Some of the people, and a lot of people, and I've got no hate to school. I think it's beautiful. Had I not gone through school, I wouldn't have been able to build connections, build relationships, build the discipline to be at a certain place at a certain time, work towards a deadline. Now you can acquire those skill sets, let's call them, in different ways. But what that book exposed to me was the 4 quadrants. I can't stress this enough. Employee, the small business owner, the big business owner, an investor. I was mind blown. I was like, I started to see people, how I convey with people.
Well, that's school. School teaches you to be an employee.
That's the only thing, because it teaches you to operate by a certain set of principles.
How to follow rules.
But they don't teach you how to break rules. But they're very few.
They don't teach you about risk. They don't teach you about
teach you
starting
that.
a business, which is a risk.
No, they don't. And obviously now maybe there's certain schools that are introducing that, but they don't teach you that because they're trying to protect you, and that's good. But there's certain people who are meant to break the rules.
What's the saying, Jeremiah? Rules are made to be broken.
Rules are made to be broken.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Any other books that you really enjoyed reading?
So I'll go Cash Flow Quadrants. That's my number 1. I'll say Think and Grow Rich. That's my number 2. The Power of Broke is a good one by Damien.
The Power of
Broke.
I haven't read that one.
I'm rereading it now. So I was broke, right? So the thing with books and book recommendations, you don't just want to read for the sake of mental masturbation. You don't want to just read and, because the thing is sometimes what happens when you're reading so many books, you listen to so many different podcasts.
Hate a bit of mental masturbation.
Yeah, because you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to do this thing. And then nothing, right?
You want to actually take away from the book.
I study these things and I apply. I test and verify. I don't just take anything for substance or gospel.
You like essentialism.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it about?
Doing less but doing more.
Okay, more
focusing not in your energy, not in a bunch of directions, but channeling them into one or two and excelling at those one or two more than you ever would, spreading yourself so thin with a bunch of stuff.
Essentialist.
Yeah. Essentialism by, I forgot his name now. It's not Robert Greene. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power.
Oh, I love that book. I love that book.
Greg McKeown.
You need to send it to me. You need to send it to me.
I will. It's a great book. It's one of my favorites that I've read. Game changer for overthinking, game changer for being too busy doing too much. It really helps you prioritize. One of the big points in the book is priorities. Priorities is not meant to be your top 5, your top 10 priorities. It's meant to be your top 1 priority. It's a great book. I recommend it. I'll send it to you after this. No,
please.
No, I like this. Yeah, I agree. Reading, I've kind of picked up reading all these books a few years after school, and it's just eye-opening to the world and what's possible. And it's just learning all these things and these concepts. And that's why Rich Dad, Poor Dad's so popular. Just stuff you don't get taught in school. And if you don't get that guidance from your family, then you're never going to know. And it's just an asset. It's a mental asset that you can invest on yourself with. And that's why I don't know if I do mental masturbation from reading too much. I love the term that you threw there, but because some books I'll read it. Like I just read I think it's The Habit of Breaking Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Fuck, that sounds like a good book.
It is, but it's very technical. And then the process and the takeaways, you have to do like an hour of meditation every single morning, every day, on top of everything else you're already doing. And it was way too much for me to apply into my life. But there was a lot of things in that book that I did take away. So it's not so much that I'm rereading a book 3 or 4 times to really take away and apply everything from that book, but I'll read a book. Some of the stuff I might not agree with, some of the stuff might not be applicable to my life, but then there might be 1 or 2 things that I really take away, like the cash flow quadrant. I was saying that's the thing that I've taken away.
And you hold on to it.
Yeah, and then for example, the Habit of Breaking Yourself by Joe Dispenza, or The Art of Breaking Yourself, whatever the title is, like I didn't really take away what you have to do in the end, which is like this whole manifesting 1 hour meditation thing every single day. But what I did take away is a lot of the concepts in terms of how our brains work and how if we have the exact same stuff coming into our brain, we're taking the exact same road to work every morning, we're talking to the same people, listening to the same music, nothing's going to change because all of our inputs are the same. So the output's going to remain the same. In order to change your life, you have to have new experiences, you have to meet new people, you have to grow. And that's the growth mindset stuff. But in order to change, nothing changes if nothing changes. And it goes back to that saying, which is really generic, but it's so true. So I took that away from the book, but I didn't take away all the other stuff about the meditating an hour a day. So I find with my reading, it's more like I'll read a book, some of the stuff I might agree with, some I might not, but then there's bits that really, really do resonate with me that I can then take away and apply to my life forever. And yeah.
I found that when it comes to reading books, you need to be in a position where you understand that there's seasons in life, right? And sometimes we don't need to learn, we just need to be reminded. I'll give you an example. I still read the Bible. I don't know if you're of any faith background.
I'm agnostic.
Okay.
Not atheist. I'm definitely not atheist. Agnostic. Where
agnostic is you believe in something?
You don't know what to believe, but you believe there is something.
Okay.
I do like a affirmation prayer every morning though.
Yeah, that's
when
good.
I wake up, first thing.
The reason why I was throwing that in is because I used to read the Bible heavily a lot. And I realized that because obviously studying all of these things, like they're derived from like some religion of some sort. I haven't read the Quran. I haven't read any of these other religious books, but I was born and raised in a Christian home, right? In the church. So for context, I realized one thing, which brings me back to my point. The Bible is based on a lot of similar principles, but there's a lot of repetition. And it's the same with a lot of these self-help books, right? It's almost the same concept. This person may say 20 codes to do this or 48 laws of power, but when you really break it down fundamentally, it's just a few set of principles and just literally just doing the simple things over and over. And it's like a racetrack. I picture it like a racetrack. You walk in the same path, but different obstacles each time.
I think the 2 main ones that are generic across them are doing the work. There is nothing else apart from doing the work. That's the main thing, is like you can plan to do the work, you can think of doing the work, but only doing the work is doing the work.
Gets the work done.
And the other one, failing, trying again, but learning from your failure. So it's you do the work, you either succeed and you continue to succeed, or you do the work, you fail, you learn from that failure, and then you apply that to the next time you do the work to then grow and go again and go again.
That's perfect. I think it really brings it back to the execution of the work. Because when you really look at it, doing the work is one thing, but like I said last time, you can do certain things like acting amidst the fear and being courageous or whatever you want to call it. But it's having the feedback and learning, right? Because learning, the thing is sometimes we think we're learning, but sometimes we're being taught. There's 2 different things. Sometimes you just need to be taught. Sometimes you need to be reminded. Sometimes you need to learn. So learning is a proactive thing. Being taught is reactive.
Yeah. And you need to be proactive.
You need to be. I don't think it's white or black. I think it's both. Yeah.
I don't know. I think you do need to be proactive over reactive in terms of agency in your life. Because if you look at, I think it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's your sphere of influence and the whole locus central control thing. It's you need to focus on what you can control, which is being proactive, not being reactive to the things you can't control. So if every time something happens to you that you can't control and you react to it, you're just giving power to that when it has nothing to do. So if someone doesn't like you and gives you hate online, for example, like listening to that hate and letting it affect how you feel and think is you giving them power over your emotions. Whereas if you only focus on the things you can control, like are you waking up and exercising in the morning? Are you applying the best principles to your health? Are you working on the business the way you should be? Those are the things you can control, and that's the proactive as opposed to the reactive approach. And what I was going to get at before is after those 2 generic things that are in all those self-help books, this is why I really like essentialism, because it's not generic like the other ones. It's more of that whole principle is not taught in the other stuff. Like the essentialism, maybe in Think and Grow Rich, where it's like manifest that one thing that you're going to really excel at over everything else and just fixate on that only one thing. But apart from that, I don't think the other books really address what's in essentialism, because essentialism is more of like the way of living, the way you approach things, the way you think, the way you look after yourself. Like that's why I really liked that as a book.
Those glasses look so cool in you.
Oh, bro, stop it.
At some point, I was literally just because they emphasize everything you're saying. And
I'm looking super fly.
Dude, you're looking super fly.
Honey, where's my super suit?
I had to call that out. But I think...
Thank you. No, you. Man, you got the primo ones. I can see myself in your glasses.
You can see yourself. Nah, that's good. That's the thing. You don't need eyes to see. You just need these glasses to be able to see yourself. Thank you for bringing them.
For the audio listeners, I'm rocking some very cool shades thanks to my man over here. But yeah.
I think when you look at books, there's, like you said, really just fundamental principles, and it's really just applying them at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the doing the work. That's the execution.
Doing the work.
That's the execution. Structural engineering, civil engineering. How do you decide that wasn't for you?
I'm a creative. Okay. So I think I hear sounds. I think I'm a visual guy. When we're speaking, I see things. Okay. Not literally, don't be spooked out. Some people are about to check out of the podcast, but I'm a creative. It comes natural to me. So I'm big on being within your natural abilities, your natural gifts. Some people know this, but I'm very gifted when it comes to music and arts and things like that. I can like play quite a few different instruments, and they just come to me like that. Okay. Same with now bringing it back to something like engineering. So my attention to detail when it comes to things like designing and I am more of a creative. I'm like a visionary. I'm a macro guy. I think 10 years ahead of myself. Certain investments that I have right now, they're not for today, not for next year, not for 5 years. Literally 10 years. That's natural to me. Construction engineering is a today thing. One little thing fucks up everything. So it wasn't natural to me. Like, and the thing with me is, one thing I don't like is sucking at something.
I can relate. Yeah. And then you're not competitive with other people. You're competitive with yourself because you want to be better yourself.
I'll put it this way. Let me just put it this way, transparently. Engineering it felt like torture. One, because I felt like I was a fish trying to learn how to fly. Put it that way.
I like that.
So I was a fish trying to learn how to fly, or if you want to quantify it a bit different, I was a bird trying to swim. Obviously, I didn't want to use that one because there's birds that do swim, but for the purpose of this conversation, I felt like I was drowning, right? I felt like because I'm pretty good at certain things, right? I felt like that was being suffocated, you know what I mean? And a lot of my life has been flight or fight, in that I live my life out of, I could die today. And if I die today, God forbid, by the way, I don't think anyone should be afraid of death. Death is a beautiful thing. It creates opportunity. Obviously, it has its emotional connections, but that's a conversation for a different day possibly. But engineering for me, I am smart, street smart. And being in an environment where I wasn't thriving, not that I wasn't putting in the work. And that's the thing that pissed me off the most, right? Knowing that you're putting in the work, regardless of this patience stuff and like, kind of wait and blah, it just, doesn't come as natural to me. I did get through. There were certain times where and the funny thing is there's just elements of it, right? So when it comes to things like maths and leadership and like public speaking, those are some elements of construction in itself. Like this, I remember some of my maths classes, I was like top student and I didn't even have to like really put in the work. It's just natural. I was trying, obviously I had to put in the work, but it comes natural to me. But when it comes to things like designing, my designing is not for construction purposes, but it's more for creative purposes. It's more for literally designing a vision, something that has essence, not designing something that's structured, that doesn't have emotion. That's not me. So I thought it was me because I'm a designer, right? But I still can do that, but I need to feel what I'm designing. I need to be connected to what I'm designing. And that looks different, right? For some people, designing is designing a piece of fabric, designing a song. And I'm a creative, So the fact that I didn't get expressed, because you're literally looking at a screen and, you're putting the pieces and puzzles of like this beam and this column and trying to make it work. There's no emotion to it. Or maybe I just didn't have the emotion for it.
You didn't have the passion.
You see, that's why I like you, man.
Why?
Because you quantified like my 1 minute of rambling into like, dude, this is why you didn't have.
I was just tying in because we were talking about passion at the start. It was the first thing I asked you, hustle and passion. Mate, it's podcasting. It's what I do. I'm coming up on episode 100 soon.
Wow.
This is going to be 98.
I wish I was at the 100 one. Could you do my one?
No, I can't because I'm bringing on my old co-host for a special episode.
Oh, wow.
Because I used to have a co-host who was with me for about 50, 55, 60. And he stepped away because he's got a full-time job. He's the lead singer of a band. He's very busy. Like, we're still best mates and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's coming back on for episode 100.
Amazing.
Otherwise, I would have for sure. It's just like, it's going to be a special occasion with him coming on, and maybe we'll eat some cake, even though it's going to be early on a Saturday.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I think podcasting is a very slow burner. So if you look at the first episode to now, obviously there's so much growth. If you look at the production over the last 90 so episodes, 95, 96, 97 episodes, it's gradually getting better. The studios have changed and progressed to a better studio now. They're editing the software, like using Adobe Enhanced, to now audio engineer my stuff through AI, like things like that. It's just made the production better. The guests are really picking up momentum. Like, it's having good conversations like this, and I'm learning a lot from it. I'm getting better at talking to people and asking the right questions. But there's so much further to go. I've got so much room to grow, and the podcast could be so much better, even though it's already grown so much from where it was. It's such a slow burner. I wouldn't expect this to be anywhere for another 100 episodes, and I wouldn't care because I enjoy doing it and I'm enjoying the grind. I'm passionate. I'm enjoying the hustle with what I'm doing here.
There you go.
Even though it might not be making any money right now. Potentially soon, hopefully, sponsors. I'm in talks with some people. I'm trying to work some stuff out to try and monetize this because I am putting a lot of time and effort into it. I want to start outsourcing the clips and this is what I want to talk to you about with what you're doing with the clips, because they're all sick and you format them well, you got good hooks, good cover photos, all of that sort of stuff. Like, I work a full-time job. I then have the podcast. I'm then trying to start a business with a friend. I'm way too busy. This is why I'm talking about essentialism, the book. I like essentialism because I don't even adopt it myself yet. I'm too busy to do clips. Clips is the number one way to grow a podcast because it just gets it out there. There's no point in having the best guests in the world and the best conversations if no one knows they exist. Clips is your marketing engine for podcasts. I don't have time to make clips. I can spend 5 hours making the best clip ever that will get 100,000 views. I can then spend 5 hours making a clip that I think is just as good that will get 5 to 10 views if the algorithm picks it up or not. It's such a hit or miss. It's super time consuming. People can do it better than me. It doesn't require me being on camera like the podcast. It's a skill that can be outsourced. I need to outsource clips. But then you got to be able to pay editors. You got to be able to pay for that. So it's like, do you make the jump to start paying? Because right now the podcast isn't making any revenue. So then you got to put your own money into it to then make it worth your while. And it's got to be better than what you can do to rationalize paying for it as opposed to you doing it yourself. But at the same time, in order to have the money to pay the guests, you would need to pay the clip editors, you'd need to have good enough clips to grow your podcast, to have socials and sponsors that are then paying you to be able to pay them. So it's like the loop. It's making the jump from neither to having the sponsors and the high clips that bring in the sponsors to pay the clip makers. That's a bit of a rant, a bit of a tangent, but it's like it's making that jump into that sort of from nothing and nothing in terms of revenue coming in and outsourcing production to having revenue coming in and outsourcing the production. But in order to bring the revenue in, you need to outsource the production is what I was getting at. So it's like that's the biggest hurdle or obstacle for the podcast.
Right, pumping out clips. Well, there's a few different ways you can go about it. So obviously start with, let's call it, the number one is the hustle. You just kind of do it yourself for a little while, but have a goal to, when you get to a certain point, start trying to outsource. And you don't have to take the huge jump and go head first. You can, because you already are head first, but it could look like maybe you just get somebody on board and you might just need to train them. And then they're just doing maybe 1 or 2 videos.
Direct from the Philippines, $2 an hour.
You know? But the thing is, you also need to look at, you need to filter out, number one, what are your options? You probably have like 5 options. You can do Philippines, you could get somebody in Perth and pay them, but you pay them for a fraction if you're training them and you exchange some sort of value. You figure out, you just have to be a key person of influence.
But they've got to buy into it though, because I'm not going to have a lot of money to give them to start with. So it's going to be like, you've got to buy into this, learn and grow and do really well. And as what you're doing does well, it will in turn make the podcast do better so I can pay you more. But to start with, it's not going to be a lot. So they'd have to really buy into the podcast and into a long-term kind of thing, which is hard to convince someone.
I think rather than saying they have to buy in, you need to sell the vision. I'll give you this as an example. And I've spoken to so many people who are just like in the hustle as well. One of the businesses that I had early on, maybe 2-3 years ago, I had like a team of 7 and none of them were paid. They just believed in me. 7 people believed in this guy. Not the vision. Like, of course, the vision is one thing, but I was carrying the vision, but they believed in me. And I didn't know how to lead. That was like one of the biggest bottlenecks in like my early career, right? Early entrepreneur career. But it's really just, people see it, man. Like people will see the passion that you have. Your job as a founder, as a leader, as a CEO of whatever the vision you're trying to make come to life is to be so passionate, be so bold, and that energy should be evident. Because people want to be a part of something big. And I say this to people, like when people say, oh yeah, I need some money, and it's like, nah. And that's not just one of the teams. Like that team of 7 crumbled, right? I had a smaller team of 4. They were on, like when we get revenue, and that was pre-revenue. I've been like in a lot of startup positions and things like that, because the hustle, right? But your job should be to sell the vision, and people will see your work, and then every conversation treat it like an interview. And that's one thing that I don't know how much research you've done on my background, but I used to have a podcast. I did have my own podcast. When I'm doing these interviews, I
saw it, and I saw the photo of it, and that's the studio that's in Osborne Park.
Yeah, so we did it from different locations because
it costs money.
Yeah.
I did see that. I've recognized that because I've known someone else that has done some pods there. The guy you were doing it with, who's he?
So I don't know which clip you've seen.
The white guy.
Keone?
Potentially.
No, that wasn't Is
that your business partner though? Because there's a few photos of you and him on like graphics where it says we're doing this thing, come and see us or whatever.
So he's been kicking off with his podcast, and I was a guest on his podcast.
What's his name?
Keone.
What's his podcast name?
The Growth Concept.
The Growth. I'll look it up after.
Yeah, look it up.
It's good to know. Just
he's really good as well. He's really
talk to
good.
people, but yeah, I don't know. I think how'd you find the podcast?
This podcast?
Your podcast.
When I had my podcast?
Yeah.
It was good. I was constantly learning. I'm very curious. I have so many questions, and I think that's I did it for selfish reasons. When I say selfish, I don't mean selfish. I mean genuinely
It's
selfless.
genuine why you're doing it.
Like I was genuinely curious. I want to know how you think, because when I know how you think, I learn about yourself. I learn about me, right? So that's the same thing. Brings me back to what I was actually saying to you. Treat every conversation with intent, like an interview, because you're trying to see who's a fit, you know. And some people just want to be a part of it. I've had people reach out to me and offer me a huge amount of value, and I don't have to pay anything just because of my quote unquote vibe. But no, like I didn't choose this vibe. I just started doing, and I say this, right? Do epic shit, people come. Like you doing 100 episodes, like we count in hundreds. I don't know if you heard of Alex Hormozy's principle of counting in hundreds.
His big thing's volume.
Volume, bro. Like fuck yeah, volume. There's some people don't even know this. Like people look at my content. Those are seasons where we're pumping out like up to some days even 27 pieces, 27 clips in a day.
Hormozy.
Me.
You're doing 20. Who's editing your clips?
I've got a personal brand manager.
Like, as in you manage someone that does it?
So he manages my personal brand.
Oh, and you pay him a fee?
He's a partner.
Oh, so, okay. I'm going to have to talk to you about this off camera afterwards, because I want to learn about all this stuff, because I want to learn about my opportunities to do, because I really need to invest in my production. Because I'm in the trenches. I'm interviewing the guests. I'm setting up all the equipment. I'm editing everything. And then I'm trying to market it at the same time. I don't have the time for it. I need to focus on what I can do and provide value to that other people can't, which is being on the camera and talking to you. So I need to outsource the marketing of the podcast. So,
and it's good. You just think of it. You start asking questions. And maybe one thing that I'll say off camera to you might be like the light bulb moment. I hope so.
No, I hope.
I hope. You hope more than me,
man. I've been thinking about the best way to do this all year. And the podcast is, and the funny thing is, I'll go through periods where I'll make a bunch of clips and then I'll make none. And I've got like, say the last 4 episodes, I've got like 2 clips from every episode that are unedited, just like a minute or 2 of raw footage that I got to turn into clips, and I'll eventually get to it and post them all. Yay. But it's like the podcast has been doing better and like been blowing up a bit, even though I haven't been marketing it as much. So it's like, imagine if I am marketing it.
We're doing the marketing.
Oh man, it's just like,
a lot of people have asked me that. I need to put more intent in backtracking or like looking at the steps that I took into finding people to jump onto my vision, and people who are like, yeah, I don't want to get paid. Some people would tell me like, I don't want to get paid. I just want to learn from you. I just want to learn from your opportunity. You just have to give them so much value that it's insane.
But in terms of what value are you giving them in return? Because what value can I give a clip editor in return?
So for instance, I was in Bali for a business retreat and my personal brand manager was with me. You're coming for a trip to learn, to meet different people, meeting people in Spain, in China. I'm in rooms now with heavy hitters as well. And just proximity and you selling the vision and constant reminding. As a founder, as a visionary, your job is to constantly remind and keep people in the loop. So me coming on a podcast like this, we were not being interviewed on podcasts, right? But then now that this traction and seeing that, and now, reiterate and tell them, hey, look, today we're on this podcast. This is the opportunity that we've gotten. Things like that make a huge difference.
Is the guy on your socials that's on those kind of thumbnail things with you, is that your business brand manager guy?
Yeah, potentially you've probably seen some of him.
He's on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. And he's the one that's the photo of you sitting in the Osborne Park podcast room with?
Osborne Park. But so there's 3 guys. There's 3 guys who was there at the time. I'm not too sure which one you're referring to.
This guy.
No. So I was on a podcast. That's his podcast. I was on his podcast. The podcast, his podcast is the Growth Concept. Great concept. Great podcast. Highly recommend tuning into it.
There's actually so many niche Perth podcasts, hey, that I just don't know about. Because like I don't hate, but social media. I want to be a producer, not a consumer. I always get trapped on Reels to the point where I've got a second phone now to manage Instagram. So Insta's not even on my normal phone. And then now I'm at the point where I'm not even using the second phone unless I'm uploading. I'm using Instagram on the desktop to message guests.
Oh, wow.
Because it's just like, otherwise I'm going to get trapped on Reels, and I've got too much to do that.
Just put a few timers and things, or put a limit.
But once I'm on that, it's liquid crack. Like, I'm not getting off it. Like, once I start swiping, it's over. It's over. Like, even if I'm self-aware I'm doing it, I just get hooked. So I've just got to eliminate, like, I've got to shape my environment. Got to make sure my environment doesn't have that. So I put that in the cupboard unless I'm uploading, or unless I'm like here today to get your message that you're here. Otherwise, I'm doing it on my computer now. It's just a game changer. For
Self-awareness.
Sure. Yeah, but and I was actually having this conversation with Jimmy before this will be out the week before this episode, and I was talking to him about it. It's the fact that right now I'm so harsh on myself. I'm so ambitious that I feel like I've got so much further to go, but then I really struggle on recognizing what I've done now. So if you spoke to me 3 years ago and told him everything I'm doing now, I'm sure I'd be proud of myself. I'd be happy that I'm in the right direction. But if you speak to me right now about it, it's the opposite. I've got so much further to go into the future.
But that's the thing, because it's a journey of constant progression. And if you're not, that's the thing. If you're not constantly looking to progress, constantly looking to make like the micro improvements, the 1% improvements, then you're literally slowly dying. And I said this a while back. Maintenance is a myth. There's no such thing as like maintenance. It's either you're growing
or you're dying.
Period. It's just the rate at which it's happening, which makes it seem like maintenance. Because when you really look at it, for instance, like, I don't know if you're into like stocks and crypto and things like that. If you look at one chart, it's so funny how crypto works. So
volatile, very volatile.
So if you look at it from a 24-hour graph, it might be showing that, yeah, it's going up. But if you do zoom into like a two hour crunch, you see that it's dropping. If you zoom into like an hour, it's dropping. But if you zoom out to like a month, you see that it's so those.
If it's Bitcoin, you just zoom out to all time.
oh, that. Yeah. Or if it's Bitcoin, just zoom out to when it started and like 14 years ago. And right. So it's the same with.
Yeah. I was looking at getting in on crypto in 2022 when it was like peaking at 60K. And then I decided to go with like just regular shares on ASX instead. Big mistake.
There you go.
Big mistake.
But look, that's the thing. Like, you can making mistakes is fine. It's what you learn from them and how you moving forward. Now that you've seen that,
but it's like, do you get into crypto now at 170,000 a Bitcoin at AUD?
But Bitcoin is not the only coin you can get into.
Yeah, that's why it's. I guess it's the safest one because it's got the Bitcoin backing it, the blockchain technology backing it.
But you also need to understand that crypto is going to be a way of doing business in the next few years. It's already happening now.
But it's like Bitcoin's going to be the main one though. It's like the USD dollar right now in the world. Like Bitcoin is the main crypto coin that most people invest in, that's the highest value per coin.
But it comes down to strategy, right? So every investor looks different. I am an investor in crypto as well and stocks.
I'm not in crypto, but I am in stocks.
Okay.
I got to be in crypto though. I got to get in on it.
Similar concept, dude. Like, it's not one of those things that, yeah, if I've missed the Bitcoin trend, then I've like missed out completely. There's so many different things that people don't talk to you about trading and investing. It comes down to you as a human being, right? What's your risk tolerance look like?
Well, this is the thing, and I've read some of the Warren Buffett stuff in terms of investing is dollar cost averaging over time and value investing. I'm not investing to just take my money out on a capital gain. I'm investing for the long run and then reinvesting all the dividends from those investments, and then it snowballs. And it's not super lucrative in the short term, but if you pick the right companies that are going to be foundational companies that you invest in for the long term, then in 10, 20 years, the snowball effect of the dividends and reinvesting it and how that all plays out, in the end you win. Like, it's a long-term game for investing.
And the thing is, these are things you're not taught in school. These are things you either are curious about, you got to read the books, got to be in the conversations. Even with investing, right? There's 3 different types of investments. Is there short-term, mid-term, or long-term?
Well, this is the argument that Warren Buffett, do you know who Warren Buffett is? Yeah, this is sorry, bad question by me. This is the thing that Warren Buffett says is his argument is there's only one type of investing, and that's investing. The rest is all like gambling, because essentially you're gambling, you're making informed like sports bet. You know which athletes are going to do well, but you're still gambling on if they're going to hit the amount of points or not. Like, so his argument is there's only one real form of investing.
But that's an opinion, because when you really break it down, one an investment.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying what Warren Buffett
What
says.
he says,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, he is like one of the biggest investors. So even like me saying something with or against, it's I back everything he does. I read his books, study his trends and all of that, but I also give reference which is why, now this is a bit of a sidetrack, even some of the content and interviews that I've been doing, I used to interview, like, try to go for the big fish, like the people who've done the big companies. But I also just interview now people who've got like small, medium enterprise businesses, because my audience is maybe just this guy scrolling through Instagram looking just to start get one customer. And I'm able to cater to them as well. But I also get like the big fish to inspire people like maybe you know?
Do you know who it reminds me of? Have you seen the School of Hard Knocks guy?
That guy is insane.
You remind me of him when it comes to like, even the video of you running up to the
Yeah.
guy to interview him. Like it gives me that sort of vibe.
That sort of vibe. He's so cool. I had this idea of like, if I could, when I have the opportunity to put the top 5, top 10 best podcasters in one room.
Really?
And we all interview, they just all interview each other.
Like Rogan, Modern Wisdom, all of them.
Like you, Rogan,
yeah,
you,
like
Stephen Bartlett.
Like me.
Yeah, like you, like mainly just you in a room.
Yeah, just have me in a room with 9 other me's.
Yeah.
And there you are. There you have it, the top
With
10
AI,
podcasts.
I could do that within the snap, bro. Like
no, that's a sick idea. I think someone that had a similar idea is Patrick Bet-David. Do you know Pat Bet-David? PBD?
Sounds very familiar. If I saw a photo,
you'd know his
I
face. There's so many reels of insurance, and started his own insurance company, like billionaire now, self-made in the US, Iranian background. He wrote a book, and it was like 7 different really prominent figures, and the book is like what sort of conversations they would all have in a room together.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'll send it to you afterwards. I got to send you 2 things now. Essentialism and the Patrick Beck. I haven't read the Pat Bet-David one, but
yeah, I'll look into it.
I've seen him talk about it and promote it when he's been on other podcasts. Jeremiah, are you happy?
I think happiness is for kids.
So you're not happy?
I am. I choose to be happy.
But in a day-to-day sense, in everything you're doing, are you happy as a person?
Yes.
Why is that?
I got to do what I want when I want. I got to learn. I have the opportunities. My life could change. And when I say change, I mean drastically change in one instance as a result of me executing on my curiosity, my intuition. And I'm doing everything within my capacity to get to where I want to be, to where I need to be. I'm constantly learning. I'm happy with who I am. I'm authentic. I'm kind. I used to be a nice guy, not anymore. I'm kind. I was like, nice guy. Been there, done that. Yeah, no, it's a real
people
thing.
pleaser, you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm happy with.
But in terms of your day-to-day life, are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I love it.
Good.
I love the journey.
I just want to ask. I like asking that question to people and see how they answer.
I'm a psychology guy, so when you ask me happy, I have to like do first principles thinking. I break it down.
Definitions of what are we actually talking about?
What is happiness?
Before we talk about the concept,
you know, like you may be asking me what is happiness or are you happy, but in your question, you're asking a different thing, looking for a different answer. So I try to, give you what you're looking for, and maybe the question is just a means to get there. So I might as well just give you what you're looking for before you actually. Does that make sense?
Have you always been that way in terms of how you approach questions?
Only of recent, I would say of the last 2 to 3 years.
How did you make that switch? What started making you think that way?
Being intentional, speaking to so many different people. I love speaking to people I don't know. And the thing with me is that sometimes I become so natural when I'm speaking to strangers. Like, do you realize that me and you don't know anything about each other?
No, we're boys. We're boys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've been like, born and bred,
No,
boys.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
But I've been this way because I just don't care about the noise, And I've just learned to to learn, be in the conversation. Because the thing is, I don't know if you heard of the mirror effect. So it's one of my principles, so you probably haven't heard of it. So the mirror effect is you looking at someone and you seeing yourself. So that's what drives my curiosity. I get to see me when I'm speaking to you, because when I'm speaking to you, there's only certain versions of you that can come out by virtue of being in my presence. And there's only certain versions of me that can come out by virtue of being in your presence. So it's a reflection. So when I'm speaking to different people all around the world, wherever it is, and asking them these questions, when they respond a certain way, how they perceive me when I'm walking, when I shake their hands, how do they see all of those little things? I'm always like trying to learn from it. For example, yes, I can be quite chivalrous, I think. I went out with my cousins for dinner, and the lady who was getting us food, or the waitress in this case, brought the food, and she left. And then before she left, I needed to address her to get something else. So I was like, "Excuse me, love." That's just me. I'm an old soul in a young body, or whatever you call it, right? So I was like, "Excuse me, love." And she turned back. And when she left, some people told me, "Hey, don't say that. It might be a bit provocative." Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm learning. So TLDR. Because I go on these tangents and like I'm visual.
No, this is what a podcast is, man. This is what a podcast
is.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so I learn a lot. I learn a lot about myself, how people think. I'm looking at your body language and how you've been so comfortable from the get-go. When we started this podcast, you should look back at it, but you were sitting a bit further back. But now you're so close up. Why?
I just changed. My back gets tall, man.
That and okay, yeah, that.
No, I'm kidding. I'm engaged. I'm
engaged. But me observing all of these things, and I literally do real-time testing. Okay, so sometimes I do real-time testing by literally having a conversation with someone, and I notice maybe they're a bit uncomfortable. I'll literally move back and look or speak to them at a certain angle without being too intimidating, and maybe change my posture to that and try to observe if it changes the atmosphere and the conversation in itself.
It just means you're not talking to the micers directly.
However you want to look at it, there's plenty ways to kill a cat, and you just chose like the least effective.
No, I don't know. I think for me, I'm pretty used to it. Like, I'm nearly at 100 episodes of speaking to people I haven't really met before. Sometimes I have met them, sometimes I haven't, and having a conversation with them and like bridging that gap from strangers to having an intimate conversation. So like in terms of me being comfortable, I'm comfortable from the get-go. You know what I mean? But I completely understand what you're saying in the sense of you're going to see how they're reacting to what you're saying, and based off that's then going to depend on how you mirror their body language, how you then shape the conversation, or what questions you ask to maybe make them more comfortable. Like for example, and I'll flip this on its head right now.
Okay, let's go.
Books. I asked you what books you were reading, because then I can see if any books we've both read, and then we can be relatable, and then we can share, like figure out that we've shared an experience together, and already now we're more familiar with each other, we're more comfortable with each other because we feel like we're the same person. We feel like we know what's going on.
Hey, you're studying me, hey.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Okay.
That's where I was going with that, I guess. But yeah, in terms of happiness, which is what we were talking about before, yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it, is you're living your life the way you want to live it, and that's why you're happy. And I really liked your answer. The very first thing you said before all of it was, I choose to be happy. Because I agree with you, happiness is a choice. You could have all these really negative things going on in your life. You could have all these bad things happening to you, and you could either choose to take the negative out of it and be upset about it, or you could focus on what you can control, be proactive, and choose to take the positive out of it and choose to be happy. Being happiness is choosing to do the right things that you know might not mean instant gratification now, but will make you feel better in the long run. It's going to mean doing the right thing by yourself. It's going to mean looking at things. If you make a mistake, looking at I can learn from it, and I'm happy that I've gone through this so that I don't have to go through it again, and I can choose to then improve myself because of it. That's what makes you happy. If every time something bad happens in your life, you get really upset about it and you get really negative, that's you actively choosing not to be happy, because you can choose how you approach situations and how you react to things. You can choose to have a reactive approach or choose to have a proactive approach. That's my happiness spiel.
Are you happy?
Yes.
Why did you say yes with like 5 S's?
No, I think I am. For sure. I'm in the trenches for sure. I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff about to take off, which is really exciting. Work's going well. It's getting really busy, which is good. But yeah, I guess in terms of where I am on that mountain, it's like I'm not even halfway there, but I'm climbing the mountain. But then it feels like there is no top of the mountain for me. It's just going to be a continuous climb. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to be present, because presence is a present in itself. And if I can't be present, then how can I be happy in my day to day? So it's enjoying going for a run in the morning. It's enjoying speaking to you. And then it's also enjoying having to edit this for a few hours in my downtime when I just want to play video games but don't. Like, it's enjoying the process. And that's the meta cliche thing to say, but it really is enjoying your day to day, because if you can't enjoy your day to day, what's the point? What's the point of living if you're not enjoying what you're doing or taking positive experience from what you're doing? Even if you're doing something that's hard or something that sucks or something tragic that's happened, you can still choose to take the positives out of that. If you do something that's really hard, you can then at the end of the day look back on it and go, yeah, I'm glad I did that. I did that for me. Even though it sucked, even though running for an hour in the morning, I hated it. I was tired. I didn't want to get out of bed, but I did it anyway. Now I'm happy that I did that. Maybe in the moment of it, I was miserable, but then I overcame that hurdle and it built me into who I am. And now I'm happy because of it. So that's like how I kind of approach happiness. It is a choice, and you've got to choose to do the right things to make yourself happy and choose to be happy.
I can't add, I can't subtract, I can't change anything you said.
You're sitting back a lot now, Jeremiah, back in your chair, chilled out a bit more.
No, because you know when you're talking about happiness, it's a different emotion, right? First, we're talking about success. I'm like, yeah, success, like, but then happiness is something that people think they all want and think is their goal, and it's just an element of it's a choice. It can be a goal for some people, and you realize this as well. I've got spontaneous days where maybe I'm just in the gym and I just have like a moment where I'm just like, you know what, let me talk to people, and I'll be lifting between sets, and I'll literally just drop the weight, boom, and go up to some stranger and be like, are you happy? Or what do you want out of life? What's your goal? And a lot of people don't really know what they want. People are just in autopilot, But happiness being a choice is, it shows you that you've got power to make a choice, because to choose, because choices come with power. But sometimes we don't realize the power that we have. It's not about having power, it's lacking the awareness of it, which is coming back to the whole thing of happiness. So the fact that you know that you can choose to be happy. Like right now, and there's, when you look at it from a first principles lens, right? There's a lot of psychological things that you can do, mental things, all these principles, meditation, but little things as simple as your breathing, little things as simple as smiling. Do you realize that when you smile,
it makes yourself happier? Yeah.
Right? And and I practice these things, and I obviously public speaking. Let me give a few of the things that I do as well. When I'm going into environments before I'm doing an interview, I go in with this objective to make them curious about what I'm about to say. So I may walk up to someone, I'm like, guess what? I've got a surprise for you. And they're like, okay, what? Rather than me saying, hey, I have a podcast, can I interview you? You know what I mean? So little things like that.
I've actually I can do that bit in reverse. So if I want to ask someone for a favor, I'll go, I've got the word, like I've got a massive ask for you. I've got to really ask this big favor of you. And even if it's a little thing, then when I say the little thing, they go, oh no, that's no worries, I can do that. Whereas if I was like, hey, can you do this for me? They're going to be like, oh, that's a bit out of my way. Not really. But if you go, oh, I've got a big favor to ask. Can you please help me with this? Yeah, sure. What is it? And then you say it as if it's just a little inconvenience. They then approach it from a whole different angle.
All these things, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. SOFiT AI Hub.
So a lot of what we do, SOFiT Hub AI, for those of you who don't know, SOFiT Hub AI is essentially, we are an AI company. essentially. So we build integrations into companies and streamline the back-end processes. That's from marketing, operations, sales, and also technical elements. Now we're starting to do a lot more automations that we're now getting a few different opportunities in the stock market, doing automations in the stock market and things like that. But AI, I really try to explain it in a bit of a fun way, because if you're too technical, people just like leave the chat. AI doesn't need coffee. AI doesn't need to be reminded. AI doesn't need to sleep. It's a tool. It's like anything else. In extreme doses, bad. But within reason and control, it's amazing. What brings me joy is working on a client's project and building them this massive automation. For instance, something like you're struggling to pump content, you're struggling to get it edited. But if you're working with our team and I say, hey, dude, okay, let's look at the bottlenecks. I'll sit down with you. We do a consultation. We build out something for you that edits your videos, posts for you, responds to DMs, and maybe even follows up with people as soon as maybe a guest comes in and things like that. And you've got an employee. And then you come to me and say, Jeremiah, oh my goodness, now I'm able to focus on my thing. That is my focus. So it's a tool that we get to an outcome. So it's not the AI thing itself, and that makes it fascinating. It's what, like I said, I'm a creative. There has to be emotion, right? If I'm just doing construction, like designing these AI bots for you and blah, 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 it takes away the essence for me. But for me to deliver on projects like that is where the actual fulfillment comes from. So our AI automations are, I say it's human driven. It's driven by a human being, right? And it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
I like that. So talk to me about the future of SOFiT AI Hub.
SOFiT AI Hub is essentially going to be a partner, growth partner within companies. So
like a HubSpot?
That sounds cute, but I would say more of a growth partner in the sense that companies right now may not fully swing into AI, but a lot of people might be a bit angst about it.
Do you know what HubSpot is?
Yeah, it's a CRM.
Yeah, I thought you thought I was doing a play on words.
No. So it's a CRM. So we build infrastructures into platforms like that.
So it integrate into HubSpot.
Yeah. So we can do the integrations into an existing CRM, or we can build your full CRM, but for the users or the viewers who may not know what a CRM is, it's a customer relations management tool, which essentially enables you to track your clientele,
records, emails, when they open
in-house
emails,
information, invoices, all of that. It's just like, imagine Instagram, but just business. All your business information.
And it's all records.
Yeah, that's what a CRM is. So what we do is say, hey, this company is doing this, and this and that, and they want to achieve a certain outcome more efficiently. And maybe they don't have the capacity to hire new staff, train, because having staff it's a beautiful thing, but there's a lot of complexities that may come with it as well. And sometimes you're short on time. So, for instance, one of the common ones that we are also like throwing out is like voice agents, right? So we train them better than a human, because sales is hard sometimes, right? You have to kind of listen to the person, try to close them and things like that. But if you have a voice agent that sounds human, and depending on your nature of the business, it tells the customers that, hey, I'm a virtual assistant, but I would love to help you. Rather than missing a lot of calls because you're busy, you're doing the podcast. That's where we come in. And we work with companies because more companies, it's a volume thing. That's where we thrive. If there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of traction.
And they can automate it for you.
We say, look, let us help you. Or you come to us and say, hey, can you help us? So AI is something that when people think AI, I don't think people really get it. AI is not this. I'm fascinated by it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not as complex as people make it seem, or complicated.
Yeah,
it's
they're
complex.
Just large language models and predictive like analysis.
It's almost just like Google. If you search up a photo and you can go to the images tab, it will bring the photos. But AI essentially just pieces those things together into a prompt. You ask for something and it gives it to you within a short time frame.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. What made you want to decide to do that?
So having been in the engineering background, that was already within the acumen of, designing back-end processes. I was working as a sales consultant in a gym. So that a lot of what we're doing is front end and back, front end mainly. So working behind the scenes of a CRM, dealing with the clientele, getting like a lot of sales, administrative work done. So for me, having been in that position, seeing all of that, I would say I'm a right salesperson. Okay. But I remember having worked in a sales position for a short while and getting so many leads. Like I was really good at getting leads. I cracked the record. I beat the record, right? So got like, so many
Hell
leads.
yeah.
Yeah. So got so many leads. But then for those who don't know, so when it comes to leads, what is a lead? A lead is essentially someone who's interested in your product. Potentially, if they're inbound or outbound, that's a whole different analysis. I must do sales training actually.
Qualified leads.
Qualified
conversion
leads.
rate of qualified leads.
Yeah. So imagine you've got, say, let's do the numbers easy, 100 leads, and then only 10 of those are interested. You have to convert them to buy your product, right?
So only 10 are qualified out of the 100 leads. And then of that 10, maybe only 1 or 2 you convert. So that's only a 2%
conversion.
Yeah, or 20% conversion rate of a 10% qualified leads rate.
Yeah, that's good maths. So 100 people are leads, say they're prospects inbound, they come in and all that. And then 10 of them are like, yeah, I'm actually really interested. Tell me more. And maybe you don't actually get them to buy your product. Let's say you're selling glasses just because.
Speeds. You're selling speed glasses.
Speed glasses, yeah. Shades. And then 2 of them are like, oh my God, I really need them. I'm actually going for a run tomorrow. Can I buy them now? And they pull out their hard-earned cash and give it to you. Bam. That's the whole process. Now, when you look at that whole process, there's marketing. You have to reach out to these people either through ads and things like that. Try to tell them about your product.
Yeah, you got to get the leads in somehow.
How do you do that? You could be doing word of mouth. You could be posting. You could do paid ads. Organic. There's so many different things. SEO, man. Like that's right. So that's just one thing, marketing. You're telling people about your product. Then there's the second thing, which is now where the delivery.
The funnel.
Yeah,
marketing funnel.
They come in. That's now where you build out the funnel and the delivery process of it. So you have people coming in and say, hey, I saw this. This is what I heard. Tell me more. Or I saw this. This is what I heard. I wanted. So that's for the people who are going straight from the 100 to the 2 or 100 to tell me more. And then you're building out that funnel. So TLDR, what we do is essentially every company has 3 main things: a service, a team, and let's just start with those 2. You've got a service, you've got a team, and a delivery method. That's the heartbeat of a business. So we come in and we look at 2 things. Your main goal, which is what I was going to ask you as well. What do you really want? We figure out where you want to go, and we look at your existing processes, and we look at the bottlenecks. What's stopping you from being there? Because if it's your goal and if you want it so bad, why don't you have it? And I approach it with that mindset, literally like, if you really want it, why don't you have it? Right? Then there's the pain points. Like, what's stressing you out? What are some of the things that you kind of have to do, but you don't want to do? And we look at ways of, if we can have automations, and when we say AI, let's think of AI as a virtual assistant, right? A virtual assistant doing that for you. Maybe you don't like doing it because you always forget. Maybe you don't like doing it because it's a lot, right? And again, this is the angle that I approach business from as well, with the heart posture of, I want to do things that genuinely benefit the business, right? For instance, some of the AI voice agents that we're building out right now can make 1,000 calls in a week or less. If I asked you to make 1,000 calls in a week, you'd probably delete my number first of all, starting from. But when you look at things like that, right? You look at how it affects the business, how it impacts the business. There's some crazy tools that we're working on right now in whole different industry. And if you want to stay in tune with AI and things like that, you can reach out to him or myself. I'm more than happy to have a chat.
We'll plug it all in the end, in the description of the video.
But people need to get onto AI. And the reason why is because it's one of the biggest shifts as well. And I'm not just saying this because everyone else is saying it, because I study a lot of great history occurrences in business or technology.
Man knows the Napoleonic Wars.
That's what I'm saying. So if you literally look at history, it only repeats itself. One time when cars were not a thing and horses were a thing, people are probably like, oh my goodness, cars are going to replace horses.
Cars is an interesting one as well. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, when cars first came, it was a luxury thing. It was like all these manufacturers made these unreliable, really expensive cars. It wasn't until Ford came along, Henry Ford, and revolutionized the industrial manufacturing line to be able to churn out lots of cars all at once that were durable, didn't break down, and reliable. And he revolutionized the product line or manufacturing line for like pumping them out basically, so that he could sell them at such a lower price. And because they were super affordable, they were all in the same color. I think it was the Model T was the first one for Ford. And that's what made it mainstream. That's how people started adopting it, because he removed all the barriers to entry. It wasn't super expensive anymore. There wasn't all these options to pick from, and they were reliable. They didn't always break down because there wasn't mechanics around every corner back then in the 1920s or whenever it was around the Great Depression. So it's like, it wasn't so much the cars becoming a thing and people embracing that change. It was making that change adoptable to people, which is what you're talking about with your business, is making the tools for AI adoptable for business.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. And I always give examples because a lot of times when we're consulting with business owners, there's two things. Some are like, yeah, I ask, how soon do you want this by? Yesterday. Cool, you've got urgency. You know that you need to be using it. Let's get it done. And then some people are like, maybe, I'll think about it. Fine. You should think about it. That's good. It means you're thinking, but you're just thinking about it. So think of something like the internet as well. So the internet, same thing. When the internet came about, they said, it's going to take away the connection. And now apparently human beings have never been more disconnected, yet more connected, right? So with every invention, with every new technology, with every new change, comes two things. There comes the positive and the negative, right? They go hand in hand. It's like a relationship. If if you're getting into a relationship with a woman, or you're getting into a relationship with a man, there's certain things about that person guaranteed you'd be like, shoot me in the head. But you take the package. You don't pick and choose. You know what I mean? So it's almost the same with AI. It will have its disadvantages, and those are the things that we work towards. Like, I really prioritize AI safety now, for instance. So a lot of people don't really even know that if you're using a random LLM, like an open source, a public LLM, your information is accessible somehow. And I don't know if how many people have realized this as well, but our phones right now are so...
They're listening.
They literally are listening.
I have Siri disabled.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't want it listening. I'd disable, because you can go through all your apps and you can disable the microphone for them. So I just do that. I don't want it listening to me. But then there's still some apps that you have to be able to talk to people and stuff. So it's like Instagram, I've got to have the mic on so that when I record a video, it records my voice, or if I call someone on Instagram or whatever. But you can turn Siri off and all that.
I think I've never turned Siri on. I'm always like, hey Siri, hey Siri. Man, Siri, I probably like this.
Nah, man, I can't. I use it, actually, the one I do have it is ChatGPT. I have the mic on because I love speaking into it. And I love also on iPhone messages, speak to text, because it's just efficient. Easy. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but man, they're always listening. Have you seen that movie Deus Ex Machina or whatever it's called?
Tell me.
It's this billionaire guy, whatever. And there's a line in the movie at the start where he's just convinced this guy to come to his place because he's won some prize or something, his remote place off in the hills, and it's all sketchy and stuff. And the guy's like, so how did you even realize and personally target me and get me to be here? And he's like, I just listened to all your cameras and all your devices and then built the perfect game plan for it. And he's like, well, isn't that illegal? And then he goes, well, every single major company in the world is doing it. And if I was to get sued for it, well, then in return, they'd all get sued for it as well, because we're all doing it. We're all listening. So it's like mutually assured destruction. And it was like a concept in that movie, but I reckon it could be a real thing.
But that's the thing. There's so much invention.
Sorry to tangent.
It was by the way. No, it's good. Yeah, but there's so much TLDR. There's so much information out there about AI, and I essentially my job, I guess, is to educate people, and it's fairly new. I spend endless hours. Literally, my work is there's levels to it, right? There's like, yeah, I use ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and things like that. But then there's being behind the scenes, building out the actual infrastructures and using the tools, using different tools of different, because we've spread thin to now obviously start to niche down and things like that. But have like being able to piece different applications like automations for content, automations for voice agent, automations for chatbots, automations in marketing, automations in sales, automations in like now things like the stock market or things like that. And piecing all of these things, there's a certain thing that you see that not everyone sees, right? And that's why a lot of what I need to do is not just like, I'm not trying to sell, right? I'm more so trying to educate, because if you look at the times when, say, for instance, when the likes of Jeff Bezos, and I use those examples because obviously not just because of the money they've earned, but that the money is an indicator. If somebody's willing to give, because at the end of the day, people work a job, they spend their like a third of their life to earn money. And if you can get that money and give it to someone else, then it means they surely have something of value. That's why I reference quote unquote successful people, because they've
It's all
convinced
tied into
people,
money.
right? But when you look at any of these successful people, they solved a problem. They solved a pain point. They gave value, and they were able to impact so many people in different levels.
Value innovation.
Value and innovation. And they were bold. They were courageous. Some people, who would have thought starting a book store online would make such a big impact?
Well, the biggest one's Netflix. Netflix tried to sell themselves to Blockbusters, and Blockbusters said no. And then Netflix was the company that put Blockbusters out of business in the next decade.
If I were you, I would buy shares in SOFiT HUB AI. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, is it public? Are you going to publicly list it, or?
So that's amongst one of the plans, because not to disclose so much information.
You have to IPO then.
Yeah, of course. But the vision for me is like, even with what we're doing, is growth partnerships, right? So building out businesses and building out frameworks, because I think the perspective of business is going to change drastically. I think one thing that AI is going to do is enable a lot of entrepreneurs. We will see more entrepreneurs. Solopreneurs. You see more people who are, because it's not really, it's solopreneurship, but it's really solopreneur with tools, and those tools are trained to execute like a human being.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
I think we'll see a huge shift in entrepreneurs. For instance, the creator economy. Right now, I was looking at some videos, and we are now working towards building out some AI models that can be on social media, and there's crazy ones right now. They've got huge following. Some of them are obviously getting paid and things like that, but they're not real. And that's kind of scary, right? Spooky, because now social media is being taken over.
Deals.
They do better deals. They look better. They look real.
They say what you want them to say.
They say what you want them to say. They sound real, right? And all of those things, what I perceive is going to happen in the next few years. You know how
it's already now. If you go on Instagram Reels now, 40% of it's Sora AI.
You know
and
how
you can't even tell.
You know how water, once upon a time, like water, right? Saying that you sell a bottle of water is just insane, because it's free.
In Roman times, it was free.
In Roman times, even now, it's free.
There was a big thing in Rome about it, where the government wanted, or not the government, but the people running Rome, or the politicians wanted to start making people pay tax on water and pay for water. And there was a lot of outrage in Rome, in ancient Rome.
Yeah, that's insane. I heard this recent business idea company that is starting up in the United States. By the way, for those who may not know the numbers, the United States has over 300 million people, whereas the headcount in Australia, in just Perth, is like 2.9 or something like million. And Australia large should be about 50, 60.
Isn't Australia like 35 million?
35, is it? I was looking at it the other day, but my numbers are a bit inaccurate.
We'll bring it up live.
Let's bring it up live. How many is it? I'm pretty sure it could be like 60 maybe. The whole lot of Australia?
Yeah. 27.2.
27?
27 million.
I doubled that. Hey, I'm almost bigger. Trying
You're
to
just too ambitious. You're
too
just
ambitious.
too ambitious.
But anyway, so there's this business that's now starting to sell a service as going for a walk with someone. And I think that's one thing that's going to happen in the future with all of these automations, AI, social media will be taken over by AI, first of all. That's what's going to happen. Thereafter, human beings will be left to connect, and connections will be more valuable.
Communication and human connections is the future because all the other stuff can be replaced by tools.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People are literally paying, and I was saying this to my cousin the other day, people will pay a lot of money now just to go for a walk with someone they don't know. Like, right now, it's, yeah.
You know that there's a niche one like that? Cuddling. You can pay people to cuddle you at night. Like non-sexual, nothing like that.
Just a hug and stuff.
It's just, yeah, for lonely men. Like and it used to be a booming business.
That's
There's
what
some
I'm saying.
weird business models out there.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I'm the ultimate sidetracker.
No,
but
that's not a sidetrack.
That's
not a sidetrack. That's in line. But some people ask how they can start investing in AI, and it really depends on the business. It really depends on your lifestyle. But do something with it. Play with it.
Yeah.
That's the start, you know?
What's the future for you looking like?
AI or my future?
Your life.
Oh, my life. Okay, this is good because we're live and on camera. So when we see it, you'll be like, damn, that guy said he was going to do this and he said this is going to happen.
And then he did it.
And he did it. And we have that live. So the future for me is building big businesses. Building businesses, being surrounded by people doing cool shit, doing epic stuff. I want to be surrounded. So that would look like not just business or wealth or whatever. Like I say this with so much care and so much authenticity that I'm driven by not just money. Like money is just numbers in the screen. I've been in a situation where one morning I looked at my screen and there's $500 and the next is like 100x that. And I'm like, whoa, that's just numbers in the screen. There's no actual transfer. So that really shifted how I looked at money and things like that. But it's an indicator. So the future for me looks like being around people doing great things, impacting lives, inspiring lives. If there's one thing that I would like my content to do is just inspire someone to either find their passion, execute on it, and do the same. Because I may not be able to change the world, but I can change your world. And you can change someone else's world. But I had to change the world before that happened. So that means I can change the world by virtue of just changing the people within my proximity. So impact, inspiring people, genuinely inspire people. You know, there's that like motivation. Like you watch a reel, oh yeah, you know, David Goggins going for a run. I've got nothing against David Goggins. I love that
Read
guy.
his book.
Have you? Oh man. Yeah? Would you reckon 10 out of 10?
I haven't read number 2, but number 1 was definitely a 9 out of 10. In terms of like, you see David Goggins online and you see him talking about everything. You have no idea what he's actually been through. Like he's been through hell. And to be the person he is now, he's the toughest, strongest willed motherfucker on the planet. David Goggins. Big shout out to that guy.
David Goggins. I'm going to bring him to Australia. Guy's my cousin.
Is he?
No, I wish.
I wish too, because then I can get him on the pod. I love that man.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going with that?
Yeah. So essentially building out teams, being surrounded by people doing epic stuff and getting into public speaking, philanthropic endeavors as well.
Yeah, cool.
I possibly would be. I haven't done too much research on what it would look like starting a fund, but I want it, like even right now, a fair bit of like some of the automations that we do, right? So we have a review agent. For each review that we're able to get for someone, we like donate a fraction of that to like serving a hungry community or something like that.
Yeah, cool.
So the future for me is really being a person who stands his ground, who's authentic and does cool shit.
Awesome. Well, something I ask every guest that comes on the podcast, and it ties into what we're just talking about now, is tombstones. Everybody dies. Everybody gets a tombstone. There's a limited character space on the tombstone to have a few words to be remembered by. What would you want to have on your tombstone?
That's a great question. It was so unreal. Such an inspiration.
It was so unreal and such an inspiration.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jeremiah, this has been great. I've really enjoyed this. Where can everyone find you? Where can they get your stuff?
JERAMIAH Bear, that's all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook. And yeah, reach out even if you just want to have a chat on what we do, what we're about. I'm always probably interviewing somebody on the street, so you might see me.
Guess how long we've been talking? An hour 40.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Time flies when you're clicking, man.
Time flies. Did you look at that?
Yeah. Thanks very much for your time. This has been awesome. I've loved this chat. It'll be out Wednesday week. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for having me.